What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 13. I am your host, Marcus, and in this episode, we're talking about becoming a great leader. Now, what exactly brought this topic up? I know I looked back at a lot of my videos, and I didn't have anything that essentially covered leadership. It was one of those roles that I think a lot of us are very wary of, but I brought it into my Ignite Thursdays, and if you don't know or aren't aware, I always do an Ignite Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Instagram account. Ultimately, what I go on there is just to share information that I am gathering, experiences that I have lived, and help people ignite the change that they want in their lives. Now, being said, this particular topic came to my mind. I've seen a lot of different leadership things. I've seen a lot of this stuff reiterated and stuff like that. And so I wanted to give my opinion on a good leader. There's a lot of good things, a lot of different perspectives when it comes to leadership, because a lot of times you can essentially look for those things that you don't want in a leader, right? I think you can name off a lot more things that you don't want in a leader than you particularly do want, or you don't really typically think. And when I started thinking about this, being in that leadership role, I think great leaders don't know that they're great leaders, right? Because great leaders have that passion to want to help people. I think that's where it starts. Initially, I think great leaders are also thrusted into that role, not really wanting or accepting of that role because they understand the responsibilities associated with that particular role. But perhaps you want to be a better leader. Perhaps you want to be a great leader. What will it take for you to be a great leader? And there are a lot of different things that I've experienced in my life. I've been through leadership school through the military. I've obviously managed many different size groups of people, some large, some smaller, but ultimately knowing that everybody is unique, that you have to want to get to know that person, right, at a personal level. Any great leader knows that person, right? Knows something about that person that drives that particular person, right? And feels that they are on an equal playing field with that person. And why is this important? Because ultimately, to try to make a difference in that person or make that person find their own greatness, right? Because a lot of times you can see greatness in somebody, but they don't see it. Even many times in my life, people have told me things and I never saw it. And you might be in the same boat. So being said, how do you get that out of somebody? That's coming to it as an equal to that person. That person may not feel like, you have this title, right? And whenever you get these titles essentially associated to you, people, right, are very standoffish, right? Because they feel like, oh, well, you have power, so I maybe not want to get in trouble, whatever the case is, right? Whatever their thought process is, right? They're more filtered when it comes to you. But if you can diminish that barrier and come at it with a genuine desire to want to help that person, to bring the goodness out of that person is more susceptible to want to change. And one of the biggest things I've found when you are trying to make the change and bring out that desire in somebody, or the best in that person, right? Trying to optimize that person, because that's ultimately what a leader does. You have to get to their level by knowing their name, right? By calling them by their name. This is one thing I've learned through the Dale Carnegie book, is that people hold a lot of weight in their name. Always reiterate their name. And you know this by, if you essentially mispronounce somebody's name, somebody is quick to essentially correct you. This is because they hold a lot of value in their name. And you notice that when somebody calls your name, right, depending on who that person is, you can get really ecstatic about that, right? This is because you hold a lot of weight, right? And it's very personal to you. Your name means a lot. So make sure when you are talking to this person and getting at their level that you ultimately reiterate their name. It helps you memorize their name, especially if you don't know that person, right? If you're coming into a new leadership role, try to reiterate that person's name as much as possible. And if that's hard for you to remember names, then try to remember characteristics of that person and try to associate that name with those characteristics of that person. You want to establish a solid foundation, a solid relationship. Find out what their interests are, right? If you need to, and if it's not something out of what your normal everyday perhaps experiences are when you are off work or not working, whatever the case is, try to learn a little bit more. So that way you can kind of get to their playing field, understand where they're coming from, where their interests are, what drives them. Why are they taking the job that they want? Why are they an entrepreneur? Do they want to ignite change into their lives, right? You have to look for this by getting to know that person, becoming familiar with that person, right? And a good thing is to always, I talk about this on Ignite Thursday too, is to have a good sense of humor. Because again, there is that filter there. You need to break down the filter and let that person feel comfortable around you. And that takes breaking down barriers. And the quickest way to do that is to have humor, be humorous about it. If it's a stressful situation, people aren't going to let down their guard. And to see this too, this leads into something else about body language. If that person is closed off, you can tell this by their body language. This is why I highly suggest that you learn about body language. That person open to your message right now? Well, how can I take down that barrier and make sure that they are open? I can do this by ultimately, just having some humor. And you may be like, well, Marcus, that's great, but I have exactly no humor. I cannot tell a joke. Just listen to some comedy now and again. The thing is your mind will get used to the comedy, right? It's what is at the forefront of your memory that will help you essentially start molding your mind to help you become a little bit more comedic, right? You'll realize by focusing on this, you can help break down that barrier and make that person more comfortable to want to share what their interests are, to want to see you as the same, right? Because when you're on that level, and you're making them feel comfortable, right? You got to be aware of your own body language. You got to be aware of the fact you should be smiling a lot more, which is something I need to do a lot more on camera because it's a little bit more different staring into a lens than staring at somebody's face. But be aware of that. Be aware of the smile. Be aware of that person and their body language. Be aware of your body language. Are you open and available to that person? Because if you're sitting there with your hands like this, asking them questions, or you have a blank stare in your face, a blank look on your face, right? And you're not smiling, making eye contact, right? Those are two big things. If you can make eye contact, if you could smile, it's not saying stare, make them feel awkward, but right? And have some kind of energy and excitement in your face. People are more open to that. Is your body open, right? You're not closed off, you're open. Your palms are up, right? You're inviting them into your frame. This allows a person to be more comfortable, to essentially be more susceptible to want to ignite change and become their optimal self in your presence, because you're very reassuring. You bring that comfortable frame into place, right? You understand that once you get and develop this relationship, sometimes it can be quite easy. Over time, I've realized that I'm able to adjust this a lot easier by knowing how this works and controlling a frame into where it is comfortable, because you can take control of a room with you yourself not even being aware of it, by being courteous, right? By standing out from other people, by smiling all the time, by making eye contact, by saying good morning, How are you doing, right? Actually genuinely be interested in how they are doing, right? You want to make the environment in which that person is in comfortable. Like you're good buddies. Like you could tell each other's secrets, right? That's where you want to get to be a good leader. But even a good leader doesn't see themselves as a leader because they're generally trying to help that person become better. And so you want to essentially create this environment in which they feel safe to share things with you. That's not saying that you can't have boundaries yourself. Yes, you must still, you are essentially creating that frame, right? You're inviting that person into your frame. As a leader, you hold control of that frame. So yes, you do have boundaries. And if whoever that person is tries to break out of those boundaries, say, hey, that may be a great idea, whatever, but I don't really agree with that. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should do it this way, right? Don't just tell them. Don't just tell somebody, right? If you're a leader, you don't just tell somebody. You have to let them know why. What is the reasoning? What is your thought process behind it? What's an alternative that they can do to help fit in their goals? Because as a leader, you ultimately have your goals. You have your framework that you are trying to reach. So you want to still keep that person within those boundaries, but you still want to adjust to them. So it's a fine balance between the two. But again, if you are on that level to where they see you as equal, you should see yourself as equal, right? And trying to help that person. Again, being a great leader, you don't typically feel this, but you notice when you step away, right? You notice that when you're in a room, people are always watching you. We are all leaders, believe it or not. You're a leader to yourself, to your mindset. How are you guiding your life? You are a leader, whether you want to believe it or not. And so it's the same concepts and principles you would apply to yourself to control yourself, you apply to somebody else. You have that confidence in everything else because you are generally trying to help the person. You're generally trying to bring out the best in the person. So that requires you to take control of the frame. And again, the quickest ways to do that is to be transparent, right? If you come to the situation where you're very, very strict in everything that you do and you're very closed off, people can naturally sense that. People are naturally turned off by people that are closed off, or naturally have that vibe that, well, I'm better than you because of a tag, or because I'm more knowledgeable. You can't come at it like that. Being a great leader is more than just having the knowledge. It's making people, optimizing people. How can you optimize a person? You provide an environment where they can flourish within your boundaries. It's not saying that you have to say, hey, you're going outside my boundary, it's just not going to work. How do we make it work? Communication is big, but every leader has characteristics that they can leverage. Maybe you wear your heart on your sleeve, right? Maybe you have a big heart. Use that to your advantage. Or maybe you have the sense of humor. Use that to your advantage. As a leader, you should know what your strengths are to help to your advantage. But there's other tools and techniques that you should use so you don't feel so overbearing, right? We're not trying to be a dictator. We don't want to provide so much guidance that the person's not even learning anything. We don't want to do that. Doing that puts too much stress on that person. What you want to do is provide just enough guidance to say, hey, I believe in you. You got this. Go take care of it. Go take care of it. Knock it out, right? You have to establish that trust, like, hey, I believe in you. Another trick I've always found is to give that person almost a title greater than who they are. Right? To make them reach a little bit further, right? You're trying to push them a little bit further outside of what they typically are. Maybe it's somebody that is having a rough time at work, right? Maybe they make messes around the office all the time, right? Be like, you know what? I really appreciated when you cleaned up the workspace today. It looked phenomenal today, right? Establish that visual for them. They're like, oh yeah, I did a good job, right? And so they'll continue to do it. You want to paint that positive picture in their mind. And then what they try to do is try to keep that image in your mind about who you see them as. And that helps them grow. A great leader only provides a little bit of guidance. They don't provide step by step. And another thing to remember here, which I think is also extremely important, is that what you want to do is you want to slowly raise the temperature of the room. You don't want to come at somebody and say, hey, you're trying to make great changes in a person, right? You want to slowly make the changes. Anything that's going to stick and make a significant progress is slow and steady. Slowly raise the temperature of the water. Don't come at them and say, hey, this needs to be done this way all the time, right? Slowly increment changes. Because nobody feels the temperature of the water slowly rising. They're slowly bringing up their performance, slowly bringing it up, slowly building it up. Then they don't even recognize who they are anymore. But you're seeing the progress because you are the one guiding them and slowly raising the temperature to new levels. You can't cold turkey it and expect them to just change overnight. It's not going to happen. It is a process. How can you slowly raise the temperature of the room to get them to where they need to be? Slowly painting pictures in their mind, slowly getting them to do tasks that will help build their confidence in themselves by only providing a light framework, not coming at them with, you need to essentially establish steps 1 through 10 exactly as I say. You can't have that much control because you're not allowing that person to develop themselves. You give them the freedom to develop themselves and ultimately build that confidence in themselves. They know what you have done. They appreciate what you've done because you don't have some other desire to want to just leave them in the dust, right? You want to truly help them become better people. But to make them a better person, you have to come at it with good reason. Why do you want to make them better? What is driving you? I know for myself, I started Discover Ignite because I want to help people drive the best out of them. Try to make that environment that is comfortable and relaxing, right? I try to joke. I know sometimes I can get pretty serious. And when I initially started this, I did because there was a lot of other reason behind what I was going through. But now I try to take what you are, creating a strong environment that helps you grow, prosper, right? Environment is huge. If you have a prosperous environment, you can make great strides because you have good support. And sometimes good support is hard to find. Even for myself, I do have a good support system, but I'm going into a lot of different areas in my life that I have no experience in. And to be a good leader, You need to not be fearful of those things. You need to not be fearful of failure and not be fearful of those people that look up to you as a leader to fail in front of them. They need to know that you are human, that failure is okay. Because if it hits you and you bounce right back, you're giving that person the image of somebody that says, no matter what, as long as I continue to try, I will make it. So you have to be the model for other people to follow. If people can see that strength in you, see that you're human, and that, that you're not perfect, is ultimately what it is. We are not perfect. We are human. We have many flaws in us. And even though a lot of these tools and techniques, they do help us become much better and almost give off the image of being perfect, we are always imperfect. We will never be perfect. But again, it comes to winning the war as opposed to every single battle, because you won't win every single battle. And the people that look up to you need to see that. That's okay. You need to be resourceful. When there are tough times, you're, again, not going to know everything, but you have to know where to look. How can I help you? If I can't help you now, I will find a way to help you. It's providing that guidance, providing that I got your back, no matter what happens. That's where you need to be at. And people trust that. They take your word for gold. This is why we don't hand out trust me, or we don't hand out other different, essentially, verbiage just off the fly. You want to be able to follow through with your actions, and that when you say it's going to be done, it is going to be done. Use it very sparingly, because this helps people build trust in you. And then follow through, and generally want to do that, right? Not just say it, to give off the impression, but to actually be the one that wants to see them succeed. Because that's where it's at. Having the compassion for that person, not wanting that person to struggle. I don't want to see you struggle. I want to see you be a great leader. I want to see you do great things in your life. But for me to do that, I got to establish the environment that's going to help you succeed within my boundaries, within my frame, because I am leading you that way. Although I say that, I want people to, it's not really emphasized. My borders are defined in my mind, and I can guide people away from them before they even hit the borders. But again, you don't realize you do this when you get in that state where you're building this environment for these people. You want to see them succeed at their best. Great leaders don't know that there are great leaders, and there are many out there that don't even realize that. So remember, if you want to be a great leader, where's your heart? Do you really want to see these people succeed? There's a lot of responsibility there. But when you truly care, it doesn't feel like responsibility. If you just want to see that person succeed, you don't want to see that person struggle. You want to slowly get them there so they see what you see in themselves. by slowly raising that temperature.